Darkest Dungeon has returned to my channel because it hasn't been uploaded in a while. So hello there, I am doing a brand new Darkest Dungeon playthrough. The previous videos that were on my channel were based on a Twitch playthrough that we've since stopped doing. We're doing a brand new playthrough over on my Twitch channel, but I don't want to just take footage from there because you guys have no context really, because there's plenty of people in the YouTube world who don't know what's going on over at Twitch. So the best thing to do for you guys is to start a brand new Darkest Dungeon campaign so I can share with you my my love-hate relationship with Darkest Dungeon. So first things first, let's get into a campaign, and we have this little second one right here. I'm going to start a brand new campaign, all DLC turned on. Let's go. Difficulty-wise, we'll go with Darkest. Radiant is meant to be like the easy mode. Darkest is the normal, original difficulty. Blood Moon, actually, besides being just, you know, a tough time, you have a limit as to how many heroes and how long you have to win, and I don't really want to limit the playthrough and do something like that. I want to, like, you know, really enjoy myself with this. Now, we need to name our campaign. What are we going to name our playthrough? That seems like a fair choice. Now, because I'm sure somebody will ask, here is the list of mods I'll be using for our playthrough, just to speed up everything, basically. The faster walking and combat speed is to get through animations quicker. Some appearance-altering mods to make characters look a bit different, including a palette extension, longer hero names so I can be more creative with naming characters, and faster scouting, once again, just to speed up the basic flow of the game, but nothing that's going to change the core gameplay too much. Nothing that affects classes on a gameplay level, and nothing that affects looting. And here we are in the tutorial mission that we start off in. I apologize to all the Darkest Dungeon vets out there, or even just people who are aware of how the game works from my Twitch, but this first video is mostly going to be explanatory, so everyone else out there in YouTube world who have no idea what Darkest Dungeon really is or how it's played, this is for you guys so that you can get caught up to speed. And then from then on out, we can do the real stuff. So the game is a turn-based dungeon crawler. So you have your inventory over here. We have some food. All the other slots are empty. Your character panel right here. We're currently highlighted on our Crusader Reynold here. We can see his abilities, but there's nothing to fight, so these are all blacked out. His armor and weapon, his stats, everything. We can click on Dismas and look at his stuff. Fantastic, look at that. We come over here and we open up our map, and we can see the room that we start in, and we need to move over to this room over here. I've also got the narrator turned right down, so apologies to all the Wayne lovers out there. I know, it's heresy, but I'm doing it so I can actually get through this explanation. Now, we have to move our way through the hall. Egad. A dude has sprung up. Egad, a dude. Now, time to explain combat very, very quickly. If I open up Dismas's page here, we can see a whole bunch of stuff. Don't worry, I'll explain most of this later. For now, just keep your eyes over here and look at the combat skills. So, he has a bunch of skills that are already unlocked. The others we can't use just yet, but these are the skills that are selected that he can use now. And he has preferred positioning and preferred targeting, and that's because if I hover over pistol shot, it has little dots that tell you where he can use the ability from, and the enemies he can target when using this ability. So the three little white dots up the top left indicate the slots that he can be in and use pistol shot. So Dismas can fire his pistol if he is in the far back, the third slot, or the 2 slot, but he cannot fire his pistol point blank range up in the first slot, and he also cannot hit the dude in the first slot, but he can hit the opposing 3 according to those red dots over there. However, we have open vein over here because this dude is in the front slot. There are no other enemies. It's a little one on his own dude. So we're going to take open vein, and we're going to attack him with that. But very quickly, let me break down what we're looking at with open vein. So it is melee, obvious enough. Accuracy, 95%. That's fair enough. Damage modification, minus 15%. This ability is naturally a little bit weaker than most because it comes with some nice side bonuses to balance it out. So it has a 100% bleed chance. This will come down to the opponent's bleed resistance to prevent that from happening. We'll bleed the target for 2 points of damage every round for 3 rounds. And also debuff the target to reduce their bleed resist and their speed. Let's look over here at the opponent's page real quick. Besides the obvious red health bars, you can see his health over here, 12 out of 12, get an actual number for it. He has protection 15%, so he has a natural 15% less damage reduction kind of effect built in. He has 2 dodge, which reduces accuracy by 2%, which is why even though our open vein here has a 95 accuracy modifier, you can see on the right there, the hero to hit chance is 93. That's because he has 2 dodge, bringing it down. Yeah, right, okay. With me, good. We can see here we'll have a 5% chance to crit, and then our average damage will be between 4 and 8. He also has a 20% bleed resist, so we have about an 80% chance to bleed him if we factor in that Open Vein is supposed to have a 100% chance to bleed. We attack him, he bleeds, he gets his debuffs on him, fantastic. Then we come over to Reynold, who has Smite, just a nice sword slash, Zealous Accusation, I'll go over that later, and Stunning Blow, which is, as you would imagine, a stun, because you can stun enemies and make them lose their turn. For the sake of getting through this fight a bit quicker, we're just going to slash him with our sword, which does better damage to unholy opponents. This is not an unholy dude, though. He is just a plain little old human. Slash, he dies, we win. Loot page opens up, take the gold, move on. Let me check the map real quick. Oh, a curio has appeared in front of us. Oh goodness. These are interactables, so throughout your journey you'll find just things laying around. You know, you might find an unopened chest, you might find traps laid on the ground, fun things like this traveler's tent. We can check inside. What's inside here? Oh look, it's extra money. Fantastic. Curios also can have very negative effects. Either if you are just unlucky, or if you're not sure what to do with them, they can punish you for it. Next fight. This time around we have two dudes, and Big Man up the front is actually so big he takes up the two front slots. So this guy is like two dudes in one. So if I go to slash the first two slots, as Open Vein works, it only hits the first two slots, I can't target this dude. I can't target him because Big Man up the front is just too big. But if I go over to Pistol Shot, you can see the little red highlight feature there is saying you could attack this guy if you want. And that is exactly what I'd like to do, as the dude in the back has less health than Big Meat Shield in the front, and I'm able to get some pot shots off and cause injury. He shoots me back. Big Man is trying to lash me. We dodge that, thankfully. Our dodge chance isn't especially high, but, you know, suck it, Big Man. And now Reynold's turn. I'm going to show you the Stunning Blow, which has a chance to stun the opponent. Now, he has a 50% resistance to stun down here, though, so my stun, it just may not work. We're flipping a coin here to see if we actually get the stun. I'm going to bash him on the head. The stun worked. That little, you know, stun icon. Great. He is stunned, which means this guy's next turn is going to be skipped. I'm going to shoot this little dude again. He comes away alive, but that's fine. Now, something that I want to point out quickly before everyone finishes dying is the action notification icon, which is currently gone. So I'm just going to slash at Big Man right here. There it is. It's back. So little dude just shot us, right? You can see Big Man down here has that little yellow pip next to his health bar. Same with Reynold, right? This indicates that they have not taken their turn this round, right? You can see the round counter up here. It's at 3 right now. So he has not attacked, but little dude here has attacked, and Dismas is currently going. So this way you can see who's made a turn, who is waiting to take their turn, what could I do? So if we hypothetically assume that Dismas had a stun, I could stun this guy, make him waste his turn, because I don't have to worry about little dude up the back. He's already had his turn, right? Now, I'm going to give you a lesson in greed. So, Dismas has this ability called Grapeshot Blast, and as you can see, the 3 dots that he can target are all connected by a line as opposed to just dots on their own. You can see the difference here. So if I select it, you can see that over on the health bars, there's a little crosshatch thing here that indicates this is an AoE ability, and it will hit both dudes because Grapeshot Blast hits the front, second, and third slots. So if I manage to hit with this ability, which has a low accuracy chance, by the way, 68% on this dude right here, if it hits, this guy will die, and I will splash some damage to Big Man, which would be way more efficient than just shooting this dude, killing him, and that's it. He's got 1 life, right? He's got 1 life. I could just shoot him and kill him, but I won't do any extra damage to Big Man. So what if I try the greedy option? Well, the greedy option backfired tremendously, as you can see. So sometimes, this is a lesson in greed, sometimes the greedy option isn't going to work, right? That's the lesson we take away from this. Now, Big Man shot me with a point-blank bullet. It pushed Reynold back into the second slot, and now that Dismas has been forced into the front, he can no longer use his gunshots. So he may as well start slashing at Big Man and kill him. Now, we have a corpse on the ground here. The game brought up a very brief introduction to corpses. Basically, when enemies die as a result not of bleeding or blight or a crit, if you crit enemies, their corpse gets obliterated immediately. But you guessed it, this corpse is just here to be in the way, and I have to start hacking my way through this corpse to get to the dude in the back, who is still peppering some shots at us. So I need to break that corpse. Little dude's been brought up to the front. Hello, little dude. I'm gonna slash you with my open vein. And he dies, yay. And we have loot. We have gold. We have citrine, that's just a gem that sells for 250 gold each. And busts. This is an heirloom. We'll go over heirlooms shortly. Our quest is complete. We have the option of either continuing to adventure or return to the hamlet. Returning just ends the dungeon now, but if you do have other stuff in your dungeon that you want to do, maybe do some backtracking, do some exploring, do whatever you want to do, you can do so in like a free continue to adventure setting. You can end your adventure whenever you want, clicking on the quest complete icon up here. However, I have a chest here. Bandit's trapped chest. But it looks like it has loot, so let's open it. Oh no! It was trapped. It was a blighted chest. Oh, I guess it's a good thing that my quest is over and I can just leave. And here we have the reward page. 5,000 gold for completing the tutorial. Our food was, I didn't use my food, but the food was sold. And we got some money for it. There's the raw gold and the citrine and the 2 busts that we collected. Fantastic. We come over here to the experience panel. Both of them leveled up from level 0 to level 1, and Dismas acquired Photomania, so he receives less stress if the torch is above 75. I'll explain the torch and stress as we go, don't worry. Welcome to the hamlet. Destroyed, ruined. Not much good about it. We need more people. We've only got 2 dudes here. We need more dudes to come and join the fray, so let's go over here to the stagecoach where we can recruit people. We've got a plague doctor and a vestal. You will always get these 2. Your teams can go in as squads of 4. We now have 4 people. We have a full team. Fantastic. Now, while we're here, I'm going to introduce you to a bit of a, I wouldn't say an advanced method. Most people who play Darkest Dungeon know to do this straight away, but the idea is every week after you go out and do an adventure, you can come back and find new recruits here waiting to be taken, right? Every week, there's new people to be taken. At the moment, as it stands, only 2 new recruits will show up, which very much limits our options as to picking who we want to bring and who we don't want to bring. So you can actually upgrade the stagecoach as well as all the other services that we have yet to unlock. Don't worry, they'll come very soon. So the stagecoach network right here increases the number of recruits available every week when you come back from your quests. So this is where the heirlooms come in. The heirlooms we picked up before, we got 2 busts. So the heirlooms are kind of like your permanent upgrade system. There's a little bit of a roguelite element in here. You have crests, which are universal. You use crests for pretty much everything. Deeds, portraits, and busts. And so the network requires deeds. 3 deeds, 4 crests. Upgrade it once to get it to 3 heroes. And, ooh, look at this. We need to get 1 more deed. We only have 7 deeds. This requires 8 deeds to upgrade to 4. So what I'm going to do is come down here and open up the Trade Heirlooms panel. Oh, and I can actually tab my way over to where the crests are, and I could trade 3 crests to get 1 deed. Do that. And now I have enough deeds to purchase the 2nd upgrade for the stagecoach. So now when I come back after the next adventure, there will be 4 adventurers to select from, which means I can round off my team and get a better choice. I can get another healer if I need to, because a Vestal is a healer. I could get more front tanky dudes like our Crusaders, more DPS guys like the Highwaymen, etc, etc. And I guess it's a fantastic time to mention that the game has permanent death for all of your characters. So if you make mistakes, if you are caught off guard because the game decides to just mess with you, your characters can and will die, and when they do die, they are gone for good and go to the graveyard where you can go and re-experience great regret and bad choices. But enough with all of that, let's embark on our first proper journey. We have quests and parties. Yes, I'm going to quickly go over quests and parties. So down here, behind the narration, Wayne, thank you, we have our squads. We have 2 empty slots. Let's stick our Plague Doctor and our Vestal in here. The usual suspects. Just a fun little flavor name for this particular combination. Fantastic. Up here we have our selection of where to go. Oh goody, it looks like we only have 1 option. That's because this is like tutorial 2.0 going into the ruins. We can see on the far left is the breakdown of what the dungeon entails. A little bit of flavor right here. It's a scouting mission. The idea is we need to explore 90% of the rooms in the place. At that point, the mission is done. We can leave and go home if we want. It is a short mission, suitable for apprentice level characters, which means anyone from level 0, 1, or 2. So anyone level 3 and above can't come down here and do this. It's below them. It's beneath their abilities. And this right here, this camp icon that has a 0 there, I'll explain that when we actually need to worry about camping. The rewards are displayed down here. We have Movestone, which is a trinket. All of the characters can equip trinkets. Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, thank you. Items, basically, to modify the way they play. You can see here we have none. We've just started, so when we actually get some, we'll be able to make use of those. More crests and gold. With all of that said and done, let's actually get in here and go to the provision section, which is where we buy supplies for our little excursion. So, the idea is, this dude here is going to sell us stuff that we need to take to make the journey possible, to make it doable. So, food. You need to eat food to restore some health in between your fights if your healer is not keeping you topped up. But more importantly, food plays 2 other major roles. One is with camping, and 2 is with just random food procs asking you, hey, do you have food? Your party is hungry, and we'll get to that when it pops up. But for now, I'm going to take 8 food. I'm going to take 2 shovels. I'm going to take some antidote, and let me just quickly grab some bandages, some herbs. I'm going to take 2 skeleton keys. I'm going to grab an extra holy water, and I'm going to take 10 torches in with me. Now, let me give you a quick breakdown of all these items that we just took. So, holy water. You can use holy water on your characters to give yourselves a buff that makes you more resistant to negative effects like bleed, blight, debuffs, etc. Or you can use them on curios and other fun things in your dungeon to get special effects to happen. All of these things, for the most part, can be used on different things that you find in dungeons, not just on yourselves. So anti-venom gets rid of poisons, like, the blight effect, but it can also be used on other things in dungeons. They all have a dual purpose. There are multiple purposes for all of these, and so it kind of comes down to your decision making. Do I want to use these items, say, on myself, to give myself an easier time with combat and getting through the dungeon, or do I want to take the greedy route and use them on curios and interactables to get more wealth and reward for it? The food we've already covered. Shovels, you need shovels to get past obstacles. If you have to get through an obstacle without a shovel, it's very bad. Bandages, get rid of bleeding, easy enough. Medicinal herbs, get rid of debuffs, also easy enough. Keys open locked chests and other locked things. And torches are very important. We'll cover those as we actually get into the dungeon. Let's go! And we're here in our first proper dungeon, and apologies again for how slow this might seem to anyone else who's familiar with the game, but I need to do this so that anyone who has no idea is caught up. So, we need to open up our map down here, and we can see the layout of where we have to explore. Nice linear path. Now, the torch, I'm going to explain the torch as we move. So we come into the first room here. So, our torch up here is at 100, radiant light 100. Because the torch is lit so well, we have bonus to dodge, bonus to scouting, and a bonus to monsters being surprised. Surprise basically means that all of our characters will take their turns before the opponents get to take their turns. So being surprised is very bad for us, very good if it surprises them. But as we move through the dungeon, the torch is going down. It's gone down to 88. We have a little pyre here. We can take some unburned torches that are sitting there. And, oh, dim light. The lighting has changed. Now that the torch is below 75, we can see the effects are changing. Our dodge bonus has gone down just to 1+. 1+ to scouting, 3+ to monster surprised. But now there's red effects. These are negatives, so we take more stress as the light goes down, and monsters we encounter have a higher critical chance. What can we do for this? Well, we use our torches down here. If I click on this, it'll automatically use a torch from our inventory. Just fix the stack. And light the torch up some more. So we have a thing that we have to monitor as we adventure through and use our resources wisely. And there's the surprised effect I was telling you about. So these two dudes are all like, ah! We've scared the skeletons. And, my god, I didn't realize that this Plague Doctor doesn't have Noxious Blast. That kind of sucks, but whatever, we'll deal with it, we'll deal with it. So, Plague Doctor has Incision, stab the skeleton. There you go, fantastic, well done. Our Vestal here, our Plague Doctors, I'll give a brief breakdown of this. Plague Doctors are like a support, damage, and utility character. They deal with doing blight, so they poison enemies, as well as stuns and a little bit of light healing and buffs and debuffs and stuff like that. Very good class, I like them a lot. Vestals, typically just your vanilla spot healer. They focus on healing the party, doing a little bit of stunning and some range support. You can put them up the front if you want and do some mace bashing, but you'll find that I almost always exclusively keep my Vestals in the back. I'm not a big fan of front tanking Vestals. So what I can do here is very interesting because I know that these guys go last and that my my other two here will go first. I'm not that worried about whether or not these guys will get a turn, but just in case, hey, look at this. My Vestal has an ability that can stun. And I can stun him, so even though he goes last now, he won't even get that turn. You've lost your turn, dude. And now, back to the Grapeshot Blast from before. What if I try and do it again and actually hit both dudes? I can kill the little guy up the front who's only got 1 life, and injure the dude who's stunned in the back. Let's try a Grapeshot. And it worked. So the dude at the front is dead, dude at the back, injured, fantastic. Now, Reynold, our Crusader, he still has Smite, he still has the stun, we've covered all of this. The Bulwark is a buffing ability. It gives him plus 20% prot, which just makes him beefier. It's a raw defense stat. The Mark Target effect just basically is like a soft taunt. It makes him more desirable for enemies to attack. So he's kind of trying to vacuum in their attention and focus attention on him, being a bit of a tank. Not guaranteed, it's not an actual hard taunt effect, but it just increases the chances. And then we have the Zealous Accusation over here, which is also a cleaving ability similar to Dismas's Grapeshot that hits 2 people. So I don't need to do this, I can still hit this little guy from here, but for the sake of showcasing the fact that he has an AoE, we'll do it. And it actually missed. How do you miss against the dude who is stunned in place? Pistol shot, shoot the skeleton. Fantastic. Get our loot, 1,000 gold. We have a chest here. Let's open up the chest, eh? Let's take a look at our rewards. The contents are yours. We have a shovel, great, another shovel, more medicinal herbs, and some onyx. These sell for 500 gold each. Fantastic. Take all of that. Open up the map. And we've got a scout. So a scout is like, we have a chance to scout. I believe our scouting chance as a baseline right here is 25%. So what the scout has done is we've managed to see all the way down this hallway, and I can see what's ahead of me. Because normally, you don't get to see, and so you're kind of caught off guard more often, and you don't know what's ahead of you. But we can see that there's an obstacle and a battle in this hallway, so we make our way through. Obstacle. Obstacles require shovels to get through. It's put this shovel here for me to use automatically. It'll take one from my inventory. Use the shovel. Obstacle is destroyed. We can move forward. If you don't have a shovel, you've got to dig through manually, which, you know, injures your people and causes them stress. Now, we actually have some stress, so I can talk about that now. Stress is the white bar beneath the HP bars. You can see stress 17, stress 20, stress 20. So, stress is this really nasty thing that will happen to your characters over time in dungeons. Just exploring through the dungeons will cause stress. Certain enemies will attack you and inflict stress. Not real damage, just stress. Negative curios and things like that can also inflict stress, and the idea is this is another thing that you have to monitor, because as your stress increases, things can get bad. If your stress hits 100, which just means this bar goes all the way to the end, your character has a bit of a moment, you know, a bit of a panicked moment, where one of 2 things will happen. They will either become afflicted, which is the most likely outcome. I think it's 75% chance for an affliction to happen. And they will become any number of things. Paranoid, hopeless, all these different negative effects that negatively alter the way your character is going to play for the rest of the dungeon. So, for example, if they become hopeless, they might just skip their turn and decide, there's no point, I'm not doing this, and they skip their turn, you know? Why would you do that? Some of them decide to become, you know, overly reckless and overly dangerous, and they decide, you know, I'm going to attack my fellow companions because they're not doing good enough and I don't like them. They might become paranoid and decide if your healer is going to heal them, they're all like, no, I don't trust you, don't touch me. And they will refuse healing. It sucks. But on the flip side, the other 25% chance is that they become virtuous. And when they become virtuous, they gain positive effects like courageous and powerful and focused, and they decide, we're not done yet, we're going to fight harder, and they gain positive benefits. But more often than not, stress sucks, and you don't want stress to happen, because if it hits 100, they freak out, and the chances are it's going to go bad for you. And forbid, God forbid, if your stress hits 200, your character has a heart attack, and their health will plummet to 0 immediately, and if their health is already at 0, they will just die. and you don't want that. And here we go. I figured this would happen. Speak of the devil, this character right here, this new enemy, this acolyte, is a stress inflictor. She is someone who will specifically target your people and try and stress them out. So what my Plague Doctor here can do is use this blinding gas, which is a stun that hits the back row. And now she's stunned, she doesn't get a turn, and my Disms is going to start shooting her because I'd like her to die before she gets a chance to try and afflict me with that nasty, nasty stress. Now, bit of a cool thing that I can do here. This little guy at the front just went, he missed. Haha, sucks to be you. Get some eyes, dude. But my Crusader here, we can see whose actions remain. This little dude here with the club still has to go, right? He has a turn that he can make. But what happens if I just kill him before he can do it? Fantastic. So now I've spared myself the chance that this guy even has to do an attack. I could have attacked this dude right here, but then if I kill him, and then this guy gets a turn still, well, he'll do an attack. So by killing him initially without letting him have a chance to have a turn, I've prevented potential damage from coming at me. My Vestal here can do a ranged attack. It's missed. Sucks for me. Dismas, shoot this lady. Kill her before she can inflict stress. Don't worry. We'll get a chance to see her in action very, very easily. These characters rock up a lot. So I can't attack this little dude at the front with any of my other two abilities here because they both attack the back row. You can see they're trying to target the corpse on the ground. But with our incision, slash the dude up the front. We get another turn. How about we be cheeky and fire a stun at him? He resisted the stun. Oh no, and then he does a swing and hits my Disms for damage. You know what? What if I showcase a little bit of stall tactics right now? So our Crusader has a stun. We can stun him, and now while he's stunned, I can do things like buff damage and speed, and we can buff up our Crusader at the front. I'm gonna waste this turn and shoot a corpse in the back because I'm waiting, very patiently mind you, for my Vestal to get a turn so I can use her heal to fix up our Highwayman. New turn, you kill him. And because we stalled, I got a chance to do a little bit of patchwork on our guys. Get the money, get the busts, fantastic. Now, with stalling, the game recognizes that you're stalling out the turns and doesn't want you to do that. So anything that's not considered an actual aggressive action, so stuns are considered a stall, healing and buffing, that's all stalling. The game knows it. And so if you stall for too long, reinforcements show up and a whole new batch of enemies rock up to help out the little dude that you've got left stuck in a stun loop, and it's not good. You don't want that to happen. So stall for a little bit and squeeze in that extra healing and that extra support if you can, but don't push your luck too long because then bad stuff will happen. Or at the very least, if you can, squeeze in some actual proper targeted attacks here and there so the game doesn't think that you're just sitting there being scummy, just stalling out forever and ever. Now, new rooms to go to. We're going to go up here. There was no scouting, so we have no idea what's down this hallway. We're just going to walk through. Our light's getting lower, so I'm going to light the torch and keep it nice and lit as we move through. Is this the Klepto proc? No? Okay, cool. That's actually a surprise. Let's loot this bag. It should have been the Klepto proc. Skeleton key and some gold. Fantastic. Move forward some more. I'll explain what I'm talking about with the Klepto proc in a moment. Light the torch. Move into the next room. Ah, look, it's nasty things. Stressful incantation. She's done it. Ah, she's inflicting stress on our Plague Doctor. No. It's bad. Yeah, sucky. Now, even though this lady just took her turn, something I can do is fire off a stun anyway, and she resisted it. But if she hadn't resisted it, she'll be stunned for the next turn. You know what? Our Plague Doctor has a stun. There we go. So the next turn that comes around, she'll be stunned still, and it won't matter. Little dude here waiting to go. Let's see. My Crusader could take a swing, and this is where it comes down to evaluating chance for things to happen. So, 85% chance to hit. He has 10 life. Now, my hero's damage will be anywhere between 7 and 13. This is where the dice roll comes in. If I roll low, I won't kill him in a single hit. If I roll high, I will kill him in a single hit. I like my odds. Let's take a swing and see if he dies. I rolled low, he didn't die. Sucks, though. But what if I Grapeshot Blast and take Ultimate Greed and try and hit all three of these dudes? Ah, it worked out. And so I did some extra damage to the dude at the front. and extra damage to the girl at the back. Dismas manages to go again on the new turn because he's really fast, and we'll shoot the lady at the back, kill her. No second stress incantation for you. Slice this man, inflict some bleed on him so he'll be ticking for extra damage over time. What if I just stun you again and fire off lots of stuns? Crowd control is fantastic. Being able to stun enemies and prevent them from taking actions, it's better than healing. Think about it this way. Why heal damage that's received if I can just stop them from ever inflicting it? Right? Right? Now, advanced technique. But I'm explaining this now because I do this, and you'll see me do this, and you'll be confused, right? So the torch, we know the torch going low is a bad thing, and we don't want it to do that, right? We don't want the torch to get too low, but I can forcibly just turn the torch off. Oh, I've turned off the torch. Control, shift, and click. I've turned off the torch, and now it's pitch black. This is what happens if you let the torch get all the way down to 0. So we have 4+ on stress. We take a lot of extra stress in the dark. Monsters' accuracy and damage goes up a buttload. Monsters' crit chance goes up a huge amount, and us being surprised is more likely than not. However, the benefits, we crit more, and oh, look at that. 3+ on loot? That's right. If you fight in the dark, it's risk versus reward. Lots of bad things happen, but the good things that can happen is that we get more loot. And so the stupid little trick here that we can do is to snuff the torch right before we know we're about to win, and the game thinks that we had our torch snuffed and gives us some extra loot. And we didn't exactly get a lot from this because it's kind of being stingy. We get some jade, a portrait, and some money, but that's okay. The torch is still snuffed. We can interact with this heirloom chest. Huh. There's a lock on the front of this chest. Now, I could open it normally and I might get some nice stuff, but what if I use one of our keys? The key unlocks a hidden compartment. We get extra stuff. Wow, yay, an emerald worth 750 gold, some crests, and some extra food. Fantastic. But now, what? The torch is down. What do I do? I can come over here, and it goes up 25 each time. I can relight our torch and get it all the way back up to 100. Ah, nice and comfy now. But this uses up a lot of torches to do, so the idea is stay within your means and keep an eye on your torch situation, because more often than not, especially for newer players, you don't want to be fighting in the darkness, right? There was a trap on the ground, but luckily our Vestal dodged it because she's nimble AF. Fantastic job right there. That would have been our brief introduction to traps. Traps hit you, they do nasty things, they'll hurt you, they'll inflict negative penalties on you, like debuffs, they'll cause a bunch of stress because, you know, you just stepped on a bear trap, for crying out loud. Bad. Let's come down here and go this way. Still don't know what's down these hallways. A trap! Oh no, this one landed! We took 6 damage and 19 stress. You poor thing, you're freaking out like you wouldn't believe. Come down here, keep the torch lit, taking natural stress over time. And we have a fight waiting for us. Quarrel! Nice dodge, dude. Little arbalist guy here decided he was going to go first and try and take a pot shot at my highwayman. Shoot him back! Yeah, shoot him back. Now, we can do some stunning, we can do some blighting, we can do so many things. We could do so many things. Instead of stunning, I'm going to blight. There we go. So he's now belittled. He takes 4 damage every turn at the start of his turn. The way damage over time effects work in Darkest Dungeon is that they trigger as soon as your turn starts. So if you don't have enough life to survive a damage over time effect, your turn starts, you die. This guy takes 4 damage over time every turn. He's got 8 life though, he'll survive. What if I can push his life down low enough, I missed, damn it, that he would die the next turn? He won't, sadly. Ow, can you leave my poor little plague doctor alone? I don't really want to explain Death Door just yet. Slash this guy. There, take that. Now, actually, I could do this. You know what? I'll do it. I'm going to blight them, right? And the idea is his turn might come around. He's got 8 health and 4 blight stacked up. Every time I re-blight him, it stacks up again. Oh good, it wasn't his turn. So now that 4 blight damage turns into 8 blight damage, and this ramps up very quickly. So he's only got 7 HP. I wonder what happens when it's his turn, and he takes more damage than he can... Oh, he just dies. He just dies. He also doesn't leave a corpse behind, because if you die from a damage over time effect, you just don't. So I'm going to use my healer's turn and do a bit of healing on our doctor who is low on life. Thank you for dodging that, that would have sucked. And we're gonna do, that's right, a stun that doesn't work because I want to stall and get some more healing on our doctor. I'm gonna use the buff on my Vestal because it gives her a speed increase, which means her turn comes around a little bit quicker. And you're gonna slash me again. You dick. So my stun does 3 to 6 damage. If it rolls high, he dies. If it rolls low, he doesn't. Fantastic, he doesn't die. There's the stun. Dismas, just shift places with him, waste your turn. Do a quick heal. Do another speed buff. Just do it. Just do it. Use a stupid buff. Just waste time. Waste time. Move back here. Waste time. There we go. Do some healing. Now, I'm comfy enough. I can't stun him again. After every time you stun an opponent, they'll have 1 round of high stun resist to make sure you can't just chain stuns back to back to back to back and actually keep them permanently stunned. The game is aware of this and doesn't want you to do that. So his stun resist has gone up to 75%, which is still very much within reason to do a stun, right? I could still stun this guy if I got a good roll. But rather than do that, I'm gonna say that my Plague Doctor is healthy enough to continue. Let's kill him off. We got some blood. Oh no, why are we getting blood? Blood is DLC related stuff that we don't need to worry about too much now. Do I actually care to take some blood? You know what, I'll ditch my bandages real quick to take the blood, because it's nice to get some blood nice and early, I guess. If we get bled through the rest of this dungeon, it's going to be a little bit sucky, because I wanted to show off bandages, but our Plague Doctor does not have the ability to get rid of bleed. Ignore me! We have a fountain, a holy fountain. Plague Doctor, what happens if for this holy fountain, we drop some holy water in the fountain? Divine benefit. Ah, a 12 heal and 20 stress recovered? Why, that's fantastic. And that's why I say there are things that you can interact with that will give you benefits if you have the right supply items. Just to show you, besides doing something like that, I can consume it on our Plague Doctor, and for the next 3 rounds of combat, our Plague Doctor has bonus resistances to blight, bleed, disease, and debuffs. Fantastic, right? I'm gonna make my way down this hallway. There's a curio down here. What curio could it be? It is a knapsack. More holy water, more gold. Look at that. It's almost like I knew. Now, very quickly, this is the idea behind hallways. Why don't I just turn around and go backwards? Well, that's because what if we're ambushed like this? Exactly. Walking backwards in Darkest Dungeon is very rarely a good idea, because enemies can spawn behind you and ambush you. You take extra stress when you walk backwards, as opposed to the normal small stress that you take just moving through naturally. Also, by the way, if you move through rooms that you've already explored, you take a lot less stress, and the torch does not reduce anywhere near as fast. The torch goes down quicker, and you take stress moving through unexplored hallways. But explored hallways, it's more or less fine. The torch goes down like 1 pip every couple of steps, as opposed to very, very fast. Now, traps. We have a trap that's appeared behind us as we come back through this hallway, and we can actually see it. This happens if you scout and find traps, or if they spawn in a hallway that you've already explored. And so now we have a chance to disarm the trap before it can afflict us, because if we walk over this, someone's getting spiked. But I don't want that. So we can see icons here from the characters that are here, and their chance to disarm the trap. Dismas being the highwayman, you've guessed it. The roguey dude has a 90% chance to disarm this trap, and the others have pretty meh odds. So Dismas, could you disarm this for us? Thank you very much. He disarms it, and what you don't see, because he's not stressed, is that disarming traps actually reduces stress for the person who did it. If Dismas had any stress, he would lose some, but he's fine, so he's not losing any stress whatsoever. It is a bit of a play that if you've got characters that are stressed, you might want to take the risk, if you think it's worth it, to have them lose that stress, but more often than not, I just use whoever's guaranteed to get rid of the trap, so that nothing bad happens. And as you can see, the light is barely going down while we move through already explored rooms. I've got 1 torch left anyway, so we'll end up using that as we go. Kleptoproc? There it is, there it is. The pack contains loot. What? Look at all that good stuff. That's a lot of food, dude. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of stuff. What are you doing? Ah! He kept it all for himself. Now, this leads me into my introduction to the Quirk system. So, back on our character page, there's a bunch of stuff here that we haven't gone over yet, but you can see the resistances to all the various effects in the game, the base stats that we have, the equipment, all that good stuff, right? Camping skills we'll go over later when we actually do camping, but the Quirks, here we have the Quirks. So, he is a Warrior of Light. He does 10% more damage if the torch is above 75, so he fights better in high light. But we have negative Quirks. He is God-fearing. In town, he will only pray for stress relief. We'll get to stress relief when we get back to town. But he's also a kleptomaniac and is prone to stealing items, which is exactly what just happened. He decided all on his own he's going to walk up to this bag, open up the bag, and take all the stuff for himself because he thinks he's entitled to it and doesn't want to share it with the rest of us. What an asshole. Dismas, for example, has extra stun resist. He's faster than average, and he receives less stress from effects when the torch is high. He is a known cheat. He's not allowed to gamble in the town. We'll get to that when we get to that. Plague Doctor. Beast Hater receives less stress from beasts and does more damage against beasts. Ruins Tactician does more damage in the ruins. Good for us, we're in the ruins right now. And Scattering, minus 5% damage on ranged skills. Kinda sucky, but then again, mostly a blight inducer, so I'm not too worried about that. And our Vestal, less stress while in the ruins. Fantastic. Witness will not take part in prayer activity in town after traumatic events, so won't pray. And then Guilty Conscience bears the crushing guilt of deeds real and imagined. And then Food Proc, fantastic. I was waiting for this to happen. So, another thing that can just happen as you're making your way through the dungeon is hunger. The party is hungry and wants food. We can consume 4 food here to regain 5% of their maximum HP. Fantastic, we could do that. We have 10 food here waiting for us. If we don't have food, if you can either choose to eat nothing if you're, for some reason, you know, crazy, or if you don't have any food with you, you take 20% damage to your character's health bars, and you take bonus stress damage, which sucks. So, good thing we have food with us. Let's eat. They're all pretty much at max HP now anyway. They weren't too injured to begin with. But you really want to have food with you when you're moving around. Quest complete. The goal was to explore 90% of the dungeon. However, I'm going to continue questing because we have another room down here we can go to and explore. We've got a lucky scout. We can see that there's an obstacle and a room battle ahead of us. Because we've scouted ahead, we know there's nothing to fear moving down this hallway. There is simply another shovel required. Our light is getting less because we're running out of torches. The torch! The light is fading! Oh no! That's okay, game. I've already explained the torch to the peoples, so we have a slight chance to be surprised for the monsters to crit and do more damage and inflict more stress. But I want to get in here and get the good stuff, because there's a room battle with treasure in here. So I'm going to run the risk, and I'm going to go in here and participate in a fight. Yeah, fight! Tempting goblet. Oh no! This nasty little goblet-wielding, knife-wielding son of a gun has decided to throw nasty vile stuff on my Plague Doctor and inflict some stress. Die! let's do a shot and do some cleave damage. Now, stuns. This guy's turn's coming up. Let's stun them. Haha, you lost your turn. Loser. Loser. Now, what I could do is actually use my stun ability here, which in turn increases the light a little bit. So what if I stun Big Man up front? Well, he didn't get stunned, but the light went up a tiny bit, which makes it a little bit easier for us. I'm going to use my Renault, and I'm going to smash little dude here and hopefully kill him. Yeah, he's dead. Fantastic. This guy's going to swing, and I'm going to dodge, because I'm so dodgy. Quarrel, so dodgy. So dodgy. Now, I'm going to target this guy down real quick. Nice crit, he dies. Corpse doesn't appear. Fantastic. Our Plague Doctor right here. So this guy's extra turn of resistance for stun is gone. His buff has disappeared. So he's only got a 10% resistance to stun. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try... Damn, dude. I'm going to try and stun him again is what I would say if it actually worked. Stun! Yeah, stun him. Make him not be able to do anything. And you know what? Stun him! Make him not be able to do anything. Stuns are very powerful, right? Stuns are very powerful. So, shoot him. Oh, he survived on single health. Single point of health. You know what? Finish him off. There we go. Now, our Vestal. Am I worried about my Plague Doctor's life? Not really. It's the final fight in the dungeon, and this guy is more or less dead. Let's just Take some shots at him. He's going with dead weight, which has that resistance that's happening right there. Dead weight. As we can see, now, I'll go over this really quickly because I've forgotten to do this. Enemies that we have not encountered before, we have no idea what they do, even though I know what they do, but we don't know what they do, right? But after they do an ability, you can see down the very bottom right there, skills. So he has revealed Axe Blade to us, and Axe Blade just does damage, but Dead Weight has a little movement icon, that's the little blue arrows, and the stun icon, the yellow dots right there. So what Dead Weight would have done if it had, you know, actually affected me the way that it wanted to, is knock me back and stun me at the same time. Very nasty. This dude is a bit of an arse, I'm not gonna lie, for trying to do that to me. But what I'm gonna do instead is that fun little advanced thing that I spoke about earlier. I'm going to snuff my torch deliberately so I can get extra loot when this guy dies. And there we go, there's our bonus loot. So I can get, if I just press spacebar, it takes everything, by the way. If you see me just automatically loot everything, I'm just auto-looting everything. I'm actually doing that. So we can interact with our chest. Big heirloom chest. We've got a key here. Let's use it. Open up the key. Hidden compartment. Lots of goodies. I press my spacebar, loot everything that I can. Done. Look at that. We've got a nice full bag of goodies. Lots of gold. Lots of things that sell for gold. We got some heirlooms. We got some leftover things that help us out. Some leftover provisions. The dungeon is nice and clear. Let's leave. Our rewards. Gold, crests, a move stone. If I click next, it'll skip that process of watching it all pop in very slow and annoyingly. The citrines and all the gems and the gold, etc. is all compiled together for that 6,030 total we made. So 9,030 gold total put together. We got some extra crests and that move stone and the heirlooms here. And we also get a breakdown of all of our heirlooms that we collected here. Click next, come to the character panel. Our 2 new recruits have reached level 1 themselves. And we have some new quirks being introduced here. So Dismas has obtained the Night Blindness negative quirk. He does less damage when the torch is low, but he also has Beast Slayer, so he has more accuracy and crit against beasts. Our Plague Doctor here has Mercurial, which is a -5 to Virtue chance. That is what I was talking about before with the stress system. So the Virtue or Affliction system, so there's even less chance that our Plague Doctor will become a Righteous Hero, which just means there's more chance that they'll become afflicted with a negative effect. And also Weapon Tinker, weapon upgrade cost reduced by 20% for the Plague Doctor. Fantastic. And here we are back in the hamlet. It's introducing to us the severe negative quirks, which is sucky and sucks. So who is it that has incurred a severe negative quirk while we're out? God-fearing kleptomaniac. They're still the same. Still the same. Still the same. Here we go. Our Vessel, the Witness quirk, has become severe. So what happens with severe quirks, right? Severe negative quirks, is that you actually have the ability to go to the Sanitarium, which is a building that we don't have available to us right now. I believe it becomes available after the next journey out into the dungeons. You can go there and actually pay money to have your quirks removed, or to lock in good quirks that you want to keep and kind of, you know, handle your quirk system, right? You can pay money to do that. The reason why severe sucks, rather, if it costs, let's hypothetically say, Guilty Conscience would cost about 1,000 gold for me to remove from this character. The severe quirk Witness, the trauma is just so bad, right? It requires so much more money. It would cost about 8,000 gold to get rid of a severe negative quirk. So if you want to be very money conscious and you don't want to deal with awful things like this, it's best to get in there and get them taken away before they become severe. Severing on negative quirks just happens over time as you use the characters. Their effects just become that much more punishing to you. And now what the game is wanting me to do is to actually visit the Abbey and the Tavern. These two places play a very important role. They are stress relief. So the idea is your heroes go out, they do all sorts of horrible acts, fighting against nasty monsters and foul beasts, etc. And they keep their stress. Look at that. Our little Plague Doctor is still very stressed out, right? So stress can naturally go down week to week if you don't use them, just staying home at the hamlet. Their stress goes down a little bit over time, but if you really want to do something to help them, you bring them to either the Tavern or the Abbey, and you let them partake in some nice recreational activity to reduce their stress. So you can drop them in the bar, you can put them in the gambling hall, the brothel. There's a lot of fun activities that you can engage in, and they all have different costs. That's because they have different stress-relieving abilities, basically. So the bar reduces the least stress, the gambling hall reduces the most medium amount of stress, and the brothel is the most stress relief you can get. However, I'm going to come over to the Abbey because I much prefer using the Abbey for my stress relief. And we have the caretaker of the hamlet is currently staying in the penance hall, whipping himself. As you can see, he's enjoying it a lot. So I can't drop my plague doctor in the penance hall, which is what I wanted to do. So instead, you know what I might do? I know what you guys are thinking, and I'm thinking the same thing. We come back to the bar, we drop our plague doctor in the brothel. There you go. Hot bath and a companion to make warmer? Yes. So our little plague doctor is going to sit there and de-stress and lose all of that. It's going to be great. Now, looking at my other characters, Reynold only has 9 stress, and our healer has 17, though. That's a fair bit of stress. But I've only got my 1 healer. What if I need more healing? Well, then we come over to the stagecoach, and we look at our new recruits for the new week to see if there's anyone here we wish to take. And I like what I see. So much so, I'll take all of it. So we have a grave robber. I could take this grave robber. Let's take you. Another Vestal. So we actually have a second healer that we can alternate with now. We have a Hellion. Barbarian lady. Yeah. Take you anyway, because I need more people. Bounty hunter. Also a klepto. God damn it. I hate kleptos, but we'll take you anyway. And so now what I can do is come up here and take my Vestal that has 17 stress, and I'm going to pay a little bit of money. I'm going to drop my Vestal up here. But as opposed to just dropping her in, what I can do is come over here to the Abbey's upgrades. Yes, this is where all of our heirlooms for the permanent upgrades come into play. There are so many things to upgrade in the hamlet. It'll take a little while to actually upgrade all these things. The Abbey requires busts. So as I said before, the coach requires crests and deeds, right? The tavern requires crests and portraits. The Abbey wants busts. And the others, for example, the Nomad Wagon that I haven't showed you guys yet, which is where you can purchase trinkets, but they are expensive at the moment, requires just crests on its own. So if I want to come over here and upgrade the Abbey, I've got plenty of busts. I want to drop my Vestal in the Cloister, but if I upgrade the Cloister, we get increased stress recovery. So let's upgrade the Cloister here. And if I wanted to, I could even reduce treatment cost by 15%. And I'm not gonna lie, even though I shouldn't do this, I'm doing it. And you can see the 1,000 gold that I should have paid is now 850 gold. Cheaper treatment. Yay, cheaper treatment. Do that. Fix my Vestal. I do this knowing that I have another Vestal here, so my next journey out into the dungeons will be fine. I have another healer to take care of us. But unfortunately, this very long and rambly video has gone on long enough. I'm actually afraid as to how long it's going to be if I try and keep as much of my explanations in as possible. But now that most of this is out of the way, as we move forward, I'll only have to explain the new things that pop up and come along. Combat, for the most part, you guys should get now, besides just, you know, seeing what the new characters can do. There's a whole bunch of classes in the game. They all play differently, and they all do different things. We've got 3 new ones here you haven't seen yet. But I need to wrap this up, and when I come back and do more Darkest Dungeon, we will embark out on a new mission, and we'll be able to... No, ignore the farmstead. We'll be able to go into the ruins again, and then eventually unlock the Cove, the Wheels, and the Warrens, and do more. Do more out here in the Darkest Dungeon, and maybe get towards a boss fight, and actually, you know, progress and do some real exploring. But with all of that said and done, I've got to get out of here. I hope you guys have enjoyed this reintroduction to Darkest Dungeon, and I will see you all next time. Have a good one.